Alright guys, so here's the deal. It's late, I don't really feel like sleeping, and I really have nothing better to do but to sit down in front of the camera and try and rank another series. Which, the last time we did that, we ended up covering the world of Dragon Age. And to me, it really seems like the only logical next step to take would be none other than its sci-fi cousin, Mass Effect. Now, to start this off, I will give anybody that hasn't played it the same advice that I basically gave in the last video. That if you're going to play it, make sure that you import those saves so that the same Commander Shepard that you create and mold throughout the series is the same Commander Shepard that you end the story with. That, in my opinion, is the best way to play and the best way to experience Mass Effect the way that you're supposed to. So now for the list itself. And when I sat down to kind of plot things out here, and I thought about who deserved the worst spot on this list, I really hopped around for quite some time between two games, and I finally settled on Mass Effect 3. Now that's probably not due to the reasons everybody might think. I am aware that when this game came out initially, it had its fair share of controversy and criticisms that I pretty much ignored at the time, so I really don't remember in great detail what it was all about, and correct me if I happen to be wrong, but I believe basically it was that fans were disappointed in the story. Basically they hated how the game ended. And, it caused a huge uproar, and everybody really poo-pooed on the game as a whole because of that. Well, unpopular opinion here, because I didn't think there was anything wrong with the story of Mass Effect 3. In fact, I would go as far as to say that it ended exactly the way that I thought it should. The thing about the crew of the Normandy is that they are constantly putting themselves in harm's way for the greater good. They are the heroes of the Mass Effect world, who are constantly running suicide missions and having very, very close brushes with death. And I don't think it takes a whole lot of brain surgery to deduce, when you have heroes like that across multiple installments in a series of any kind, that eventually one could expect that that kind of luck is going to run out. That maybe Commander Shepard might not end up walking out of this in one piece and surviving. And they don't. But we're not here to dissect that and really get into that. What got Mass Effect 3 here, at the tail end of this, is the side missions. They really weighed the game down for me. Primarily because I thought that they really had no real purpose. They really added nothing to the story, to the lore. Basically, they're just glorified fetch quests. You know, you find some poor NPC somewhere, they tell you that they need something, you go to the designated planet that they tell you to, you scan the planet, automatically pick it up, whatever it is they're looking for, avoid too much detection from the Reapers, too much attention, rather, turn in the quest, get XP, rinse and repeat. Very boring, very dull, especially when you consider everything that the side missions for Mass Effect 2 were, which we will get to here in a little bit. I understand that it's a hard act to follow, but come on. And so, purely for that, I really have to put Mass Effect 3 in last place. Which leaves the third spot for Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, right off the bat, I just want to say that I played this game pretty late in its life cycle. By the time I got around to it, a lot of the bugs and glitches, not all of them, but a lot of them, had been patched and fixed. I know that this game was plagued with them on release, and for quite some time after, but bottom line is I didn't really experience too many, and certainly not any that would degrade the game for me and affect my opinion of it. So I just want to eliminate those things from the negative column. My initial opinion of Andromeda is that it ended up to be okay. The main story, I thought, was pretty decent. Now, on paper, I think that it's pretty hard to mess up the plot of being a Pathfinder and exploring the uncharted galaxy and documenting it to find a home for the human race. On paper, that sounds really freaking cool. And, you know, I saw it through to the end. Thought the story was alright. I walked away happy. I walked away hopeful that, you know, if we do see another Mass Effect in the future, hopefully it learns from the good parts of Mass Effect Andromeda. Let's, you know, keep what was good and expand on what wasn't. And I think everybody that's played Andromeda knows exactly where I'm coming from, exactly what I'm going to say next, which is the negative column for Mass Effect Andromeda is that Number one, the planets are pretty barren. They are beautiful, yes. They are different. If you were to put each planet that you visit throughout the game, throughout your journey, next to each other, they are unique. Which is, better than cut and paste in a lot of other games. But the biggest problem that I have is that Mass Effect Bioware rather, tries to convince me that when you explore the uncharted galaxy in the Mass Effect world, mind you, the Mass Effect world that is very, very rich in lore, in alien races, all that stuff. Pretty much everything that made Dragon Age as great as it was for me. BioWare tries to convince me that when I explore uncharted space, I'm only going to find 2 brand new species of aliens out there, which, I'm sorry, I just don't buy. And I really took issue with that. That really rubbed me the wrong way, because I look at this is such a missed opportunity, and I know I'm not the only one, but just from a creative standpoint, just for everything that Mass Effect tries to create, and in other games does, it was such a missed opportunity to, show diehard fans like me, funny enough, of Mass Effect, a new side of Mass Effect. The thing is, whether you're familiar with the series from the beginning, whether you're brand new, it was all supposed to be new to us. Nobody knew what to expect from, the corners of the galaxy that is uncharted, that nobody's seen before. It was a major opportunity to blow everybody's mind. Show us some aliens that we didn't see before. Show us some planets that we didn't know that were out there. Show us some lore that connects these new species and these new planets to ones that already exist within the universe. Show us all that. Blow our minds. Because I think it was really cool that, whether, like I said, you're a veteran of the series or brand new, we were all on equal ground, not knowing what being a Pathfinder would turn up. Turns out that it really turned up nothing. Nothing of value. But I really think it was an opportunity to show something new to everyone, and it just didn't, which is why it is where it is. Still more fulfilling, I think, than Mass Effect 3 ended up to be, but it definitely had some holes, and if Mass Effect does continue, which I'm kind of doubting in the shape that it's in, I hope those gaps get filled. I hope they take some insight from some super creative people and just, go absolutely berserk bananas with it and, you know, just do whatever, because this is a scenario where they can. You know, that's the beauty of space. Space in real life. Nobody knows what's out there. Nobody knows what to expect. So, give it to us in the form of Mass Effect. Number 3, number 2, don't know where we're even at on the list. Number 2 is the original Mass Effect. So let's call a spade here. Mass Effect's getting old. It's aging. And it's kind of clunky. It's kind of simplistic. There's not really a whole lot to do besides the main story. But it's still very, very good. Surprisingly. It is the only game that I have played multiple times, and I love it for the same reasons that I love Dragon Age Origins. It was the perfect jump-off point, the perfect introduction to the universe of Mass Effect. Everything that it was, and everything that it would become in the future. And I gotta say, when I decided to sit down and play through the entire series from start to finish for the first time ever, when I beat Mass Effect 1, I knew exactly how the game was going to end. So there wasn't any surprises in this game. But when I reached the end of the first game, I walked away feeling so pumped up to put the next game in my Xbox and keep going. This game is such a great motivator, such a great exciter for the next chapters to come. Doesn't matter how many times you play it. It still gets you excited to be a part of that world and experience that story in that universe. And I think that says something, that a game that old can be played multiple times and still hold up, still get you excited about Mass Effect. I think that's beautiful, because not every game that ages can do that. The majority of the time we look at this and go, ew. We look at stuff like this and go, ew, why did I even like this game? This game used to be good. What happened? Mass Effect still is good. It still resonates with me, and I still hold it very near and dear to my heart, the same way that I do the first Dragon Age game, like I said. Which leaves us with only one game, my favorite game out of all the Mass Effects that have been, which is Mass Effect 2. Like, it could be anything else. Probably wasn't that big of a surprise. But why? Because it's a borderline perfect game. It takes the wonderful groundwork that the initial game sets up and expands on it so much, blows the doors off of the thing. takes the linear sort of approach to Mass Effect and completely makes it open world, with so many places to go, so many places to see and explore, and like it happens with every other open world game, when I first get into it, I feel overwhelmed. Like, I don't know the first place to go that I should be going, the first thing that I should be doing. I just wanted to do it all and experience it all. And yes, I was overwhelmed, but I was happy to be. It is a story that is filled with action and drama and risk and and the not the story missions, the side missions are crafted beautifully, because not only are they entertaining, they're almost mandatory, because essentially what they are, they're called companion missions, right? You build trust with your crewmates, which then basically affects the end of the game, the success of the last mission. And naturally, you want everybody to live, right? You want to have the highest rate of success that you can, which means that you're not only probably going to have to do the side missions, but you're going to want to. Which anybody that has played Mass Effect knows what I mean when I say that. I think I forgot to mention it in my Dragon Age video, but this is something that Dragon Age 2 also does, the companion missions. I don't think they have anything to do, they have any significance toward the final mission the way that Mass Effect does, but they are there, which is another thing that makes Dragon Age 2 cool. But I don't know, that aspect of Mass Effect 2 really stuck with me. I know it's not the first game that makes your choices matter in such a way. It's certainly not the first game that I've played or talked about on this channel. But for some reason, there's just something about it that sticks in my mind. Maybe because the story and everything going on, it just feels like there's such, like everything's riding on it, right? It's not just, oh, you want to see this person survive, because you do get attached to the crew. I mean, that's definitely part of it, but it just feels like, oh my god, everybody's gotta make it out. Like, everything is riding on the success of this mission, because if they fail and whatever, the entire galaxy is gonna be at risk and the bad guys will win. And it's just like, such good storytelling and such a good way to engage the player. I will tell you, just in case you're curious, that I almost made it out completely intact. And would have if it wasn't for a very, very stupid mistake. I ended up putting the Solarian Doctor, I believe it was, in harm's way when I should have put the bionic guy there because he had a higher combat rating or something like that. Um, and of course, I naturally didn't realize my mistake until it was too late, when, after the fact, trying desperately to figure out what the heck happened, everything that I found said not to put the character that I put in the situation that I put him in. So I was very, very mad about that, as you can imagine. Still am. Even thinking about Mass Effect 2, talking about the highs and how much I love this game, how much you should love this game. I'm still very, very aggravated about it, and probably will be for the rest of my natural-born gaming life. It is a mistake that I will not soon be forgetting. I'll probably tell my grandkids about it, I will tell them how great Mass Effect, the series, as a series is, how great Mass Effect 2 is individually, but in the same breath, I will say that is probably one of my biggest gaming mistakes. And I was feeling so confident that I was going to be okay, and I just remember sitting there sweating, hoping that I didn't make any mistakes, and just when I thought I did it, I raised my hand in victory, thinking that everybody made it out okay, just to find out that stupid Solarian doctor was face down in the dirt. Man. But it does make me curious to know what happens if you don't do those missions. Like, naturally, I did them all because I wanted to build up the highest amount of trust that I could, because I don't know, I was looking up something about the game, and I kind of spoiled the fact that they were very, very important to the end of the game, which in retrospect, I'm glad that I did. Because if I had been myself and been like, I don't need to do these, I don't understand what the purpose is, or whatever, I could have had a very, very different ending to the game. But, like, what happens if you just decide, if you're somebody that doesn't know the weight that they carry, and you don't do any of them? Does everybody just, like, automatically die? Do they not show up to the final battle, and Commander Shepard just has to do everything by themselves? Like, what happens if you're somebody that has experience with that? Because naturally, I didn't, or obviously I didn't, because of the choices I made. But if you're somebody that maybe just for fun decided, I'm not going to do any of them to see what happens, tell me what happens. I'm curious. And who did you lose? What kind of end game did you make it out with everybody? Did you lose somebody that you didn't want to lose? Did you make the same mistake I did? Because a lot of people did, and a lot of people were pissed about it. But I digress. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm going to end the video. That's my list for Mass Effect. We'll see you next time.